Hey everybody, it's Sel here, and I'm here in a mixing session right now, just working on a new client project. It's a single, and it's for a gospel artist named Pastor Earnest Jackson. And he has written a song years ago called Sift You Like Wheat. And if you know anything about the crucifixion story, Jesus had told Peter before he was arrested, he said, Satan has asked for you. He desires to sift you like wheat. He wants to turn your integrity into powder. So the song is very much a warning song to alert us that the devil likes to play with our testimony, our integrity, and wants to turn it into powder and sift us like wheat. I'm actually in a mixing session right now. So I have up on my screen Logic, and it's actually running in a full resolution on an external monitor. And as you can see, I can stretch and shrink this to the full width of the monitor just as I would like. And I can reposition it, or I can tell it to go full screen. And sometimes with this particular screen, if I hit full screen, the iPad actually stretches outside of the monitor view. Just letting you know that Logic can scale up to some of those larger screens that are wider, that have more resolution. It absolutely does scale up. Now, if you are mirroring your main iPad screen, then what you'll find is that it letterboxes so that the resolution that's on the main iPad screen also is the same up on the external. However, if you just switch to having an external monitor, you can resize it any way you want. And you could even do that on the previous version of iOS as well, with certain Apple apps. So this is actually a plus that you're able to do this. So I'm just going to take you through some aspects of the song. Right now we are running in this track. There's some deleted tracks or some muted tracks there, about maybe 60 tracks between vocals, music parts. I've got horns. I've got about 20 tracks of BVs. I got a bunch of percussion, synths, guitar work. So I started this track on the iMac, and I'm doing some mixing here on the iPad, and my iMac was actually giving me a few problems. So I said, let me just save it and open the session on the iPad. Sure enough, it opened right up. The only thing I don't have access to are some of the original plugins and things that are not available on the iPad OS store. So those tracks were bounced out down to audio, and I'm mixing using a mixture of stock plugins and third-party plugins that I have right here on the iPad. On my drums, I have thrown this very powerful plugin called Knock, and a lot of you guys are familiar with Knock, particularly on the desktop, but yeah, it's here on the iPad too. So just add some extra oomph to the drums, add a little bit of sub kick, some punch, a little bit of air to the drums as well. So this song is very funky, going for a little bit of Stevie Wonder, a little bit of Shaka Khan, a little bit of Earth, Wind and Fire. We're going that direction. Now, Pastor E, he's a very funky singer as well. He likes to riff. He likes to run. He likes to do a lot of melisma on his vocals. So when you listen to him, you'll hear a little bit of Charlie. You'll hear a little bit of Stevie. He's got a raspy tone like a BB Winans, and yeah. So your neck gonna be doing this as you're listening to him. Your neck just gonna be following his lines. That's how he sings. That's how he writes. So he wrote this song years ago, and I just did some arrangements to it, updated some arrangements, And yeah, so I'm gonna let you hear what's going on in the rhythm section first. Let's break it up. Let's see. I dropped the original drums using Easy Drummer on the iMac, and definitely was a nice feel in Easy Drummer. I used actually one of the reggae kits that's in there. Some of the soul kits that are in there are pretty sick. So yeah, worked on that. And let's see, we've got some clav work. We've got some, let's listen to these bass and drums. Let's get our rhythm section going and listen to that. All right, so you guys can hear the funky vibe that I'm going for here. Little retro, and we've also got some clav work going because we want to stay in that era. So let's take a listen. Got some clavs and some synth leads, some Moog leads from the Moog Model D plug-in from Moog. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so we've got some funky clavs. Actually, a couple of those clavs are stock Logic vintage clavs. I just basically played with some envelopes, and but one of the clavs is from Keyscape. Yeah, Keyscape. But I actually could have used one of the clavs from the Gospel Musicians neo soul keys. They've got some really nice ones in there too. But yeah, just basically panning my clavs left to right so that we can get that nice effect going there. And then we've also got a pianette and also a whirly. And the whirly is coming from... The whirly is also coming from Keyscape, the pianette from Keyscape as well. And these are just bounced out, and I'm mixing them down in here. So let's get to the section where we can hear some more of the whirlies. Yep. Now, it would not be a funky track without some talk box in there and some organ, right? Because it's a churchy song. It's got religious themes, faith themes. So, of course, I added the Hammond organ in there. And here's what that sounds like. Okay, so we've got some soul going on the track, and of course, it would not be complete without my brother, Daniel Grant on guitars, and we've got his guitar work here as well. So we did some rhythm guitars, some lead guitars, some chorus stacks, made it real nice. Yeah, definitely catching all of those lines with the clavs. Let's listen to it all together with the talk box and the clavs. All right, I think the funk has been loaded. And we can get to the section where we've got some horns coming in, that you guys can hear what's going on with that. We had a lot of fun arranging this song right here at the pre-chorus. Yep, and then we'll get to vocals in a little bit. Line. Yeah, so the song's got a nice churchy feel to it. So let's take a listen to some of the vocals, particularly going into this second verse. Pastor E, he's a preacher, so he's going to give the vocals to you in a preacher voice, okay? His soulful tone, but that urgent message that needs to be heard on this. Let's solo up some claps and some tambourines. Let's take it to church, shall we?
Oh my brother, keep your eyes open, for you must watch as well as pray.
Watch and pray.
Don't you just look back for the devil, for guess what? He just might be coming the other way. Well, we've got to pray for each other. No time to give our faith a seat. Oh no, for the moment you take your eyes off the Lord, the Satan will be right there waiting to sift you like wheat.
Now we have a good amount of vocals here. We've got about 20 tracks of vocals. Myself on tenor, Candace Grant on alto, Michelle Arnold, my wife, on sopranos, and then we've got some bass vocals from me again, just on the low end for certain lines. There's about 20 tracks, and the way I like to pan my vocals, let's just zoom in here, take a look at the panning structure. I'm basically using a 45 to 45 panning structure on the tenors. I like to start with the tenors at 45. It sounds like a pretty good width to me. And then for each part going up from the altos, sopranos, I'm going up in increments of 10. So my altos are at 35. My sopranos are at 25. My bass, I didn't go 55. I went 50. I don't like to take it too wide unless I have some extra harmonies that I'm trying to fit in there, which may involve 4-part harmony, 5-part harmony, and then you may have to go increments of 5 instead of increments of 10. And I don't like to go too wide with it, so that I can have some other things in the wings of my left and right stereo field. Sometimes I like to throw some stuff in the wings, just to catch the ear if someone's listening in headphones. So yeah, I don't like to go too much farther out than 50 with my low end. But yes, so you go wide with your low end, and then as you come towards the higher register, you come in more narrow with your vocals. That's one technique. You don't have to do it that way, but it tends to work for a lot of the songs that I work on. And what other vocal processing am I got going on? Let's see here with Logic. This is the iPad version, but I can still do a good amount of routing. So here in my lead vocal, let's go into the plugin tray. I'm just going to go ahead and hit B. And here is my plugins that I have loaded on there. Got a compressor, got a channel EQ, a little bit of pitch correction. I've also got a vintage tube EQ, which is modeled after the Pultec. I like the way the vintage plugin peels off some of the low end or peels off some of the top end. Really makes the vocals feel as if they're sitting in the mix a little bit better, not too much low mids. I love the way it peels it off. Of course, you can do some of that with your EQ as well, your channel EQ. I do love working with this particular regular stock channel EQ. I mean, it gives me so much information. I get the live RTA analysis going on. I see where the peaks are. Make sure that where I have my EQ, I'm hitting those so that everything kind of flattens out nice and flat, so we can get a nice clean vocal. And then of course I got my de-esser, and just to catch some of the sibilance in the track. It's always good to have that on your vocals. So my sends, I have 2 sends on my lead vocals, one going to some vocal reverbs and the delays. So let's take a look at the vocal reverbs. So on the vocal reverbs, as I double tap that, I have a compressor that is side chaining to the same bus. And the reason why I do that is so that I can get squeeze some more out of this plugin right here, the Silververb. So I have a compressor at the top of the chain, side chaining, and is sending a harder signal from my vocal into this plugin here, which is the Silververb. And for this track, I wanted it kind of dry, but just a little wet, just for the tail end of some of the words, just to give it a little bit of a studio sheen to it. And I love the Silververb because you can do some low cuts, you can do some high cuts, make sure it's not too muddy. Or if you want to get a little bit more granular with it, particular with it, of course, you can always use your channel EQ and add peaks and valleys and dips and cuts and boosts wherever you want, so that reverb sounds the way you want it to sound. And again, this is all taking place on the vocal reverb. Okay, and I accessed that from the main chain that was on that lead vocal. I went to sends, and then it showed me the 2 sends, and then I double clicked on that send, and it showed me what was on that particular channel. And if you want to see it in the mixer view, just hit X, and it will bring up your mixer view. And notice what Logic for the iPad does. It keeps that plugin tray at the top. So now you can scroll over and actually see what's going on that vocal reverb. Here they are. Here's the compressor, there's the channel EQ, and there's their Silververb right there. So that's what's happening on that particular send. Let's go back And let's take a look at what's going on the delays. Now on the delays, I'm going through the tape delay. Again, stock plugin does an awesome job. It's clean. It's punchy, especially when I'm doing that same compressor side chaining where I'm sending a harder signal from the vocal right down into that plugin. I have daisy chained, or not daisy chained, but I have side chained right to that particular plugin, to that bus, and it's giving me everything I need right there. So this is where the BVs and the leads are sharing that particular bus. And so that's where I get a chance to really focus in and make sure I'm getting good signal going there. All right, so it allows your effects to not just get swallowed up into the mix, but they kind of peek out in the mix a little bit more. That's why that compressor side chaining on your bus can do a good job. So make sure when you load the compressor to that bus channel that you are side chaining, go into the top right hand corner and side chain to the exact same bus, and it will just take that signal and really push it through that plugin that you have there. Great. So let's take a listen to how everything sounds together towards the middle of the track, and then yeah, we can get some more horns. You guys like to hear some more horns? Let's listen to where we're at. All right, so here's our pre-chorus.
Whoa, stand ye fast, hold your ground, keep the faith that you found. Don't you ever give in to Satan's feet, for he'll be right there just waiting to set you like weed. Did you hear me? Are you listening? Did you hear what I just said? Oh, he's no good. He's no good for you. So you better pay attention now, 'cause he's always on the prowl. Keep on praying, keep on praying, keep on believing. The devil's a lying, and he's still deceiving. That old liar, oh, I want you to know he's defeated. Jesus said, oh, just keep believing. Keep on praying, keep believing. The devil's lying, and he's still defeated. That old liar, he's defeated. Jesus said, just keep believing. Keep on praying, keep believing. The devil's lying, and he's still deceiving. That old liar, he's defeated.
Okay, so there is some automation going on. I forgot to add that. I created some automation on the lead track, and I just want to show it to you how we pulled it together. So let's zoom out for a second. So on this lead track here, we can go into automation mode. That's right here. And what that does, it brings up the automations on that track. And I want you to see what's going on the delays. So on the delays here, I did use the trusty Apple Pencil to actually move the delay knobs as I was looking to send signal. So I had put this into touch mode, and as the track was playing, I got to certain parts of the song. You can use the pencil or your mouse or your finger and literally be dialing up the delay levels as you get to certain levels here, what that sounds like. Let's see if I can let you guys hear.
Just keep believing. Keep on praying, keep believing, the devil's lying.
One more time, and take a look at what's happening with this knob right here down at the bottom left. You'll be able to see how the level creeps up following this little curve right here. It all corresponds.
Just keep believing, keep on praying,
This knob
keep
right here.
believing, the devil's lying, and he's still deceiving. That old liar, he's defeated. Jesus said, keep believing.
Yeah, so this automation is great, particularly for when you want to dial in delays. You don't typically want to have post-faded delays throughout the whole track. You really just want it to creep in at certain parts for emphasis and effect. And I think it did the job. You guys let me know what you guys think about this particular track, mixing in Logic for the iPad. Doing a whole mix here. And yeah, it can be done. All right, let's take it home with an outro here.